Good morning and welcome to our webcast series to connect and extend Oracle SaaS with Oracle integration. Today's topic is Oracle Enterprise Resource Management Integration. Carmen, over to you.
Thank you, Jürgen, and good morning and afternoon, everyone. Today's event is focusing on ERP, as Jürgen has mentioned, but this is part of an event series where we are covering different applications. On these events, you will learn how Oracle Cloud Infrastructure Integration Services connect any application and data to automate end-to-end process and centralized management. On the next session, on the 7th of June, we will be covering HCM. Then on the 21st of June, CX, 5th of July, NetSuite, and the last one will be on the 19th of July around SOA Suite and Oracle integration. So I would like to invite you to join the event series. We will be sharing the link on the chat. And without further details, I pass the word to you, Jürgen.
Thank you very much, Carmen. Thanks for the nice introduction. So Oracle integration is a tool to connect and extend SaaS solutions like ERP, HCM, and CX. In today's webcast, we will focus on ERP integration. And with us is Stephen Reed. Stephen is an expert and an architect on Oracle consulting. Stephen, good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Jürgen.
How long are you working on Oracle integration projects in combination with ERP?
So I've been working on Oracle integration projects for the last 8 years.
Wow, so that's a lot of knowledge that you will share today.
And that's with both ERP and HCM. So yeah, a lot of knowledge.
Excellent, thank you very much. And with us is Neil Kominski. Neil, good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Jürgen. Hope everybody's feeling well today. I'm the product manager for Oracle integration in EMEA.
Did you prepare a demo today?
I did indeed, as always. We have demos, seeing is believing, and we're looking forward to this great session with Stephen, who really is a subject matter expert.
Wonderful, thank you very much, Neil. So for a quick agenda, we will recap the last session in a short introduction and overview, and then focus on ERP integration best practice patterns. Neil will give us a demo. I hope it will work out as it's a live demo. And we will wrap up the session with resources, next steps, and we will answer your questions. Please post them in the Q&A anytime. So Oracle integration is a platform with a wide toolkit to connect SaaS services with pre-built adapters. We offer pre-built adapters for Oracle SaaS like ERP, SCM, HCM, CX, sales, and many other services. We also offer pre-built adapters for third party like Azure or Google Cloud. And there are even partners who offer pre-built adapters in the cloud marketplace. You can, on the one hand side, connect any kind of SaaS solution, and you can connect any kind of on-premise applications like Oracle applications like PeopleSoft, JD Edwards, but also technology adapters like database adapters, or also adapters for third party like SAP systems, and you can build your own integration based on REST and SOAP. Oracle integration is implemented at many customers successfully, like at FedEx, the logistics shipping company. They are running a consolidation project to consolidate their backend SaaS services, including Oracle ERP Cloud, and Oracle integration is the main driver to enable that consolidation. Another example is MTN. MTN is a telecommunications company from South Africa, and they implement Oracle ERP and Oracle Enterprise Performance Management. And Oracle integration is the glue who brings it together, also for the backend integration like the supply chain management. So we are excited and humbled to share that Gartner has named Oracle integration a leader and position highest in the Gartner Magic Quadrant for integration platform services. So thank you to all of you and congratulations. With that short introduction, I would like to hand over to you, Neil.
Thank you, Jürgen. Okay, folks, so as any of you who know me know I'm not a great man for presentations, but I just want a couple of slides before to set the context for what Stephen's going to be discussing then. So when we look at OIC for ERP. We're just looking at the generic idea of integration for ERP. And it's like any other app. ERP will be part of your ecosystem. Now, your ecosystem will include maybe off-the-shelf apps that you have bought, for example. You might have also e-business suite, so you could have a period of coexistence between ERP and e-business suite. You may also be using Salesforce, Shopify, Coupa, any number of apps out there. And then, of course, you could have your own custom apps, and those custom apps could be running on premise, they could be running in the cloud, they might be running in Amazon, Azure, or whatever. In other words, you have an ecosystem, and you drop Fusion ERP in there. Fusion ERP will have to communicate with those other components, and that's where OIC comes in. Now, Stephen will be going into an awful lot of this in more detail, but there's a huge number of integration points for financials where they do need to interact with third parties. And of course, we're talking about integration remaining challenging. It's getting more challenging, in fact, because instead of just kind of connecting on-prem to on-prem apps, we now have SaaS and on-prem apps, and those SaaS apps could be running in various clouds. We also have IaaS, where people are moving their own custom apps maybe to the cloud as well, and it could be multiple clouds. Many customers have multiple cloud strategies. So that makes integration even more challenging, And of course, typical ERP business challenges, as Jürgen was mentioning there with FedEx, the whole idea of consolidation, or supply chain integration, or visibility into orders throughout the process lifecycle. So you could well imagine an order coming into your front end shop could be Shopify, that order going through into Fusion ERP, then being pushed down to downstream systems. And line of business folks, they just don't want the silo view. They want to know exactly what's going on throughout all of that process. And they want that process to be as quick and as secure and as robust as possible. So you can see here typical challenges that we have, requisition to receipt within ERP, but the same type of challenges are applicable to HCM, which you will be seeing in our next session, and also to CX. So any application, of course, comes with its own APIs, but of course these APIs can be very complicated, and many apps, including Fusion ERP, make extensive use of file-based data integration. And then of course these fragmented experiences, the stovepipe app gives me a certain view, but it doesn't give me what I actually need to execute the business task at hand. And all of these things are addressed by OIC. Like OIC, the focus will be today, of course, on application integration, which is machine to machine or app to app integration. But we've also got the components there for data integration. For example, preceding data into Fusion ERP in one fell swoop from, for example, e-business suite or whatever. We Visual Builder as part of OIC to create those mashups, a bit of data from Fusion ERP, some data from Salesforce, some data from here, some data from there, giving your end customer that 360-degree view that they require for their task at hand. And of course, it includes process automation for human-centric workflows. So this is very, very important as well. There are many integrations that can go app to app, but some integrations may require human interventions for approvals, etc. And then, of course, innovating through use of digital assistant. That's just another channel that we can actually use there. And as we say, Oracle integration. The secret sauce here, of course, is our rich set of adapters, which makes it very, very easy for you to functionally connect apps without having to worry about the underlying plumbing. And of course, this allows you to really be very, very productive by focusing on what needs to be done as opposed to how to actually do that. And of course, there are a plethora of use cases, and Stephen will be discussing many of them going forward. And talking about adapters, we have a rich set of adapters, and these adapters are being augmented by new adapters and enhanced functionality to existing adapters with every release of OIC. Now, OIC has a bi-monthly release cadence. So every 2 months, you're getting new functionality, new adapters, and enhanced functionality for existing adapters. Now, this slide is already out of date, but as you can see, you can connect to anything with OIC. And with that, I'll pass on to Stephen.
Good morning, everyone. I hope you're having a good day today. Today I'm going to talk about various integration patterns for ERP. I'm not going to cover all integration patterns to our plethora, but I am going to talk about the key ones, which is bulk import, bulk export, business events, and real-time inbound patterns. So if let's firstly start on bulk import. Okay, so in bulk import, this is basically where your source application is going to generate a file in a specific format. A good example for that is journals. So lots of companies have a multitude of systems that generate financial transactions and need to be accounted for in the central general ledger. So they will need to generate a file in a specific format. And what for batch integrations, we use Oracle Integration Cloud, and we use scheduled integrations. So what happens is we retrieve a file from a source location, which is usually an FTP location on the client site or the source site, and we also use deploy the OIC connectivity agent, which is used to ensure a secure connection between Oracle Integration Cloud and the source FTP location. So the file is then brought into Oracle Integration Cloud to its SFTP location. The file is then transformed into an FBDI format. There's a specific format for specific data objects, and these are CSV files. And then we use the ERP integration import service to upload the file. This does three things. It uploads the file into UCM, it loads the data from staging table into the actual production table, and then also purges that staging table and extracts any results or errors. And it also subscribes to a callback event. So the callback event is there so that you can report any errors or success within that load. So as a pictorial view here, we have it can actually go pick a file from either a cloud system or a on-premise system such as eBusiness Suite itself, or other on-premise applications. As it can say, it can be scheduled, usually scheduled. However, you can actually use a polling to actually poll to see if the files are in that specific location or not. That would be agreed with the actual source system. When either they generate files at any time, or it's usually they have a running batch process that generates it at a specific time. They just need to agree what that does. When you retrieve the file, majority of the times there are transformations that you need to perform. Usually the way different codes, like the account codes, are maybe different between the two on the source system to the ERP cloud called chart of accounts. So that's where you do your enrichment, and then you initiate the import. This uses the ERP adapter. It does the two options, import of load and update. So this can be used for a number of business cases. as I said, I've used journals as an example, but it has been heavily used for AP invoices, AR invoices, and such like. So moving on. There is a slight variation in that pattern for using for more complex transformations. And in that case, you might introduce what's known as a cloud database. And in this example, I've used the autonomous transaction processing database. You might use another autonomous database. And basically that's there because it does all the heavy work for you in the batch processing, because there's a lot of heavy transformation logic that's required. That's usually a PLC full package that does that transformation for you. So outbound patterns. So outbound, this is obviously when data needs to go from your ERP system to your on-premise or cloud systems. And this is where you've agreed that it's actually a big file that's going to go. An example is you might have a lot of customers or suppliers that need to be sent across. They will be sent across to the supplier, to your source target system. Basically what happens is you can schedule Oracle Integration Cloud to call the BIP publisher extract. That will then store the output in UCM, and it will trigger an event or a callback to the Oracle Integration Cloud, which will then listen for that event, pick up the file, and then transfer it from Oracle SaaS into the application itself, and drop it in a specific agreed location. The target application will be waiting for that file to arrive, and will then have a scheduled program which will trigger the import of that data. So as I said, there's slightly two flavors for this. The first option, which obviously my example, is for supplier invoice payment. We initiate the extract, BIP report generates, produces a file, and triggers a callback event. We're waiting for that callback event in the second flow. That then gets retrieves the file from UCM, performs any enrichments. Hopefully there's not, but it will perform enrichments, and writes the file into the format required by the target application, and then sends that file through to an FTP location. So it feels like it's seamless for the actual client. So the other option, which is option 2, is to actually trigger events. So when you actually build your extract and report, and you can actually say whether it's going to trigger an event or it's going to perform a callback. And that's, so it's basically how long the actual report's going to take usually determines what whether you use a callback or an event. Moving on to business events. Now, business events, if you are when you are performing a transaction within the ERP cloud, and when you do a commit or save, it actually triggers what's known as a specific event. So it could be a create, it could be an update, it could be a delete event. What that will then do is it writes it to a it publishes the event. Oracle Integration Cloud actually scribes that business event in your process flow. Once that event actually happens, Oracle Integration Cloud will take that information in the event that's been passed, pass that information. You may require to retrieve additional information based on the business event. It will then perform the transformations and call target REST APIs. Usually business events are expected that the target is a REST API. However, it could be it generates a file. And the target system will accept that data via its exposed REST API and process that data and then return a result which you expect to be success. Updating that system with whatever has happened in ERP cloud. So in pictorial form, in this scenario, I'm actually creating a new item in ERP. So all my downstream systems need to have that item as soon as I created a new one. So what happens is the business event, when I do a commit, the business event is triggered, it goes through data service. Oracle Integration Cloud is listening for that event to happen. It will retrieve that detailed data, perform any transformations, to verify items, make sure the codes are okay, but everything that's required. It will send a create item or update item to the downstream systems via a REST API. It can actually send a file, but that's usually the most appropriate method you use to actually do that. And if there's any errors within that flow, you send a notification so that any rectification can be applied. So our ERP actually has a number of areas which actually have business events. So these are, you've got supply chain, and the areas within supply chain are inventory management. I've got inventory management, maintenance, manufacturing, order management. So order management, this is when you create a purchase order and you're sending out to your downstream system that you need to go and buy something from a supplier. So you've actually generated that will send the information directly to the supplier. Then goes to purchasing. Those are the areas for business events. For finance, you've got a number. You've got advanced collections, expenses. This is when you actually want to pay your expenses, or you've entered in expenses that need to go to get approved. They will actually trigger an event. You've got obviously payments. When you've generated payment, you can send an event out to let people know payments have been made. Receivables, there's quite a lot in receivables around your invoices being generated and being sent out and being paid. You've got project portfolio management. You haven't got many in this area, so it's mainly around the management of projects and ensuring it's synced with any external project portfolio management systems that are out there. So real-time inbound, this is where you've got your external, your source system triggers and calls a exposed REST API. So there's two ways that are. So Oracle will then accept that REST API call, perform any required transformations. It verifies that the business object exists. And the reason it does that is to ensure it either does a create or an update event. And it uses the ERP adapter to actually do the create or update. So if we look at the process flow, We've got our source system sending in. We retrieve that data, so it's actually calling that REST API. We transform that data, we verify the data object, and we perform a create and update. And that then gets created into Oracle itself. Now, slight variations to this, you might have what's known as API Gateway. So that will sit in front of Oracle Integration Cloud. And the reason you do that is if your client or the customer does not want to expose the URL for Oracle Integration Cloud or ERP Cloud. So this pattern, like I'm showing here, we would use for a asynchronous call where the source system does not need to wait for an event to happen and return back a response. If you have got a system that requires an immediate response, then you then you'll have a separate flow going back, just responding back directly to the REST API. If you have what's known as, so you've got lots of a system that generates lots of invoices that needs to be processed within Oracle ERP, but it's a asynchronous call. Because of the volumes, what you might do, and to ensure delivery, you might actually use Oracle streams. So the pattern would be you'd have two processes. The first process being you accept the incoming REST API message. That then triggers Oracle streaming. So it goes onto a stream. So it's like a queue, it goes onto a queue. And then you have a secondary process that actually processes that information, that queue. This basically ensures that the Oracle Integration Cloud itself is using its best processing power to ensure that it actually processes the record. So if there's any error in, it can record that and put it back onto a different queue to get handled separately. That's the way you actually use it in a, when you've got high volumes of messages coming through. And go back to that one. So that is the various patterns that can be used. Back to you, Neil.
Thank you, Stephen. First of all, we're looking here at the OIC homepage, or the OIC 3 homepage. You can see all of the components here. Process is not yet enabled on this instance, but if it was, it would appear here in the list. One of the new features that we have in OIC 3 is projects. So projects allow me to create all of my integration artifacts or related integration artifacts in a particular project. So all of the integrations, connections, lookups, libraries related to a particular functional area or whatever I want to decide can be created within here. Now, it's not just a nice way to organize your integrations, it's also the basis for RBAC, resource-based access control, which will be available in our 2306 release. In other words, I will be able to define who can do what within projects. So who has an editor role, who has viewer role, etc. This will allow me to have different teams working on the same OIC service instance in different projects, each seeing only their own OIC artifacts. Now back to Fusion ERP and what Stephen was discussing this morning. One of the things he did mention was event driven, and I just want to show you this for to begin with. So here we see we've got a purchase order 164646, And over here, we have an integration that subscribes to new purchase orders. So essentially, what this guy actually does is it's using our Fusion ERP adapter. And again, the Fusion ERP adapter allows us to specify what is to be done as opposed to how it is to be done. And in this, I'll just show you how this is configured. It is configured here just to say I'm subscribing to events and I'm receiving a business event, and I selected from that list of 170 plus business events, the purchase order event. So that's how simple it was. And all I did here in business logic was to log the purchase order number. Now I can return here now and actually just show you here, like within the project, I've got my observe channel here, and I can click on that. And here I see, for example, looking here, what are the last integrations that came through here. And here we see 164,606, the exact same number here. And this is that purchase order that came in here. So again, this was triggered as soon as that purchase order was created here in Fusion ERP. And as I say, the only functionality that I have in here is just logging the purchase order number. But of course, I could take that data, which is the full payload of the purchase order here, as you can see, all of these fields here, and pass them on to downstream systems. For example, this is the buyer is Casey Brown. We see here that is which business unit it's involved in, and so on. And then, who is the supplier? The supplier is Dell, etc., etc. We see here, okay, what's the actual purchase amount, the goods being purchased, etc. So that's just the event-driven Fusion ERP business events being propagated to OIC. Now, going forward with our 2306 release, just to finish up on events, we also have the ability here within the generic OIC observability with this to browse Fusion applications events. Now, here's one I have for my Fusion CX service. It's another connection. And if I click on this guy here, what this will show me, it'll show me the events that have been fired or have been sent to OIC for that. We will see here, it takes some moments, like we see the last day. I can filter on this. Mine are a couple of days old, so I'll do the last 3 days. I'll just apply that there. And you can see here, okay, I see 6 were delivered. And I've one integration actually waiting for this. And you see the event was service request created event in Oracle Fusion CX there. And of course, I can click in here and I can see the default here is showing the max out retries because it's, we're monitoring by exception here, but I can click here and I see how many of those were delivered. And I see all of that information here. And of course, this is the subscribing integration. Now, this is really, really a killer feature in 2306, the ability to browse these Fusion events as they are propagated to OIC. So that's the business events. Now, let's go back here and look back into our project there and look at some other ERP-related integrations. So Stephen as well went through the transactional or the transactional style API calls, like the REST APIs. And here's an example of this here. Let's look at this one here where we're doing invoice validation. So let's just go in here and let's test this guy out, and let's go to run. And here we look at the should in here have an invoice number. I'll just increase that number to 4 to make sure it's unique. And I press run. And we see here our activity stream. And we see here we could click, or even better, let's go back here and just click on the observe here. And we see here it is just now. Let's click on that fellow here. And we see the design time at runtime experience. There's all of the steps that it went through. We see exactly what's happened here. We see here, okay, went through, and it actually did go through there and create that ERP invoice for us. Now, let's just look at the integration and see how that is configured to enable such. So we're going back into the design here. Let's just deactivate this guy for a moment so we can actually look at it in edit mode. And I'll just refresh that. And there we are. Here we go. So again, with the Fusion ERP adapter, you can see here the first step that we have for Fusion ERP is to validate the business unit. And you can see here, this is our connection, Oracle ERP Cloud. And we just see how that is actually configured. We look in here and we see, okay, it's query, create, updated, delete information. It's kind of one of these transactional invokes. And we see here, it's a business REST service. We see the different stripes there, so to speak. And we see here, it's business units list of values. So that's what we're looking at there. So that's what's been checked here. Now let's look and see for validating the supplier. Very, very similar, except this time it's not the LOV for business units, it's the LOV for suppliers that we're actually looking at here, suppliers LOV. Okay, so this is, and then you're saying, look, you've got the different operations here, like get all, etc., etc. Okay, again, let's look at a final look at, say, let's creating the actual invoice. So when we're creating the actual invoice here, you can see how it's configured. Again, very, very similar, transactional API. We go through there. And there is invoices. And if we look down below here, sorry, one moment, please. You will see here, it is the create. Okay, so very, very simple stuff what we're actually doing there. Okay, so let's just get out of that guy there now. So that was showing the transactional APIs. Now, the next step is let's look at file-based integration. So I'll just activate that guy again. Now, as you can see here, we've got the 3 modes of tracing in OIC3. First is production, and production says, okay, keep the data for 32 days. And what it's actually keeping is, okay, a protocol of the activities executed in this integration flow. Just the activities, that's it. Audit, the data is kept for 8 days, but that'll also include the wire payloads for your triggers and invokes. The trigger at the start of the integration and of course the response that you are sending back in a synchronous integration scenario, they will be available in this audit trail, as well as any invokes you're doing as within that integration itself. And then debug, okay, not recommended, I should say, not recommended for production. Everything is shown. So you can see a blow-by-blow account of what has happened in your integration, what happens to the payloads, etc., etc. Now, of course, this is optimal when you're doing your development and sometimes for testing. So I can just set that guy off to production there. Now, let's look at the bulk import. Now, Stephen was mentioning as well here, okay, many scenarios where we're doing file-based data integration, FBDI. And in this case, what I'm using is the file server that comes with OIC. So within this file server that comes with OIC, I have a folder here, it's called upload. And within that folder, I have a directory called, or folder called in. And as you can see in there, I've got this API invoice import, AP invoice import. Now, of course, you can have it there. There it is there, the FileZilla view of that as well. Now, this integration is going to read that. And as Stephen was saying, you know, kick off the import, the Fusion ERP import, which kicks off the process to actually put that data into Fusion ERP. So let's go back up here again. Let's go in, sorry, just going into that project again. Here we go. Here we go. And let's try this out. Now, as you can see, this is a scheduled job, which should schedule job maybe to pick files up at 5 p.m. every day or every hour, whatever. But you can run these scheduled jobs as well ad hoc, so to speak. This is an ad hoc request, and I can run this guy here. So I just click on that. I go in here now and I can look at the audit trail or the activity stream. And we can see that this guy is progressing. It's in progress there. And yes, it has succeeded. And we can see that job, yep, send for FBDI import. Now that's just a short overview of what we can actually do with OIC and Fusion ERP. Again, we'll just take one final view of, let's take this guy here. Let's deactivate this guy for a moment, just to see exactly what the ERP adapter can do. And as you can see, I can delete the event subscription there. So let's just refresh this so that we have it in configured mode, and let's edit this guy. So this guy has been configured, this trigger has been configured to subscribe to new purchase order events. So as you can see here, there's a plethora of events from, that we can select from, and we can also add an additional filter on top of that. So we could actually say, okay, I'm only interested in purchase orders that have been created for an amount greater than €1,000 or €2,000 or whatever. So it's just very, very nice way of being able to filter what you want to do here. We can always see here as well, when we go back up to the top, you can see, okay, receiving a callback upon completion of FBDI. So you've got the import, your import and load that I just showed you previously. But what about a callback to say, okay, what is the status of that? Was it successful or not? We can use that for receiving the callback, etc. Now, when we're actually in here as well, we can very easily drag and drop the FTP or the ERP adapter. Just drag it across here. And now it's in invoke mode. And you can see here what's available to us. You know, and this was the queries I was showing you earlier for the creation of the invoice there. And you can see, of course, I can also kick off the import, bulk data, etc. But just going in here for this guy, you see, okay, I go to my business services here, for example, I choose the Stripe, and then I look and see what I want to do. And we'll say we look here for PE or CH. Say purchase orders, and then I can actually go down there, and you can see down below here, I've got here for cancel. I say, do you know what, I want to, say I want to submit a purchase order, for example, and just go like that there, and it's done. So again, the focus is on here. What do I want to do, as opposed to how is it actually done technically under the hood? That's what we're taking care of for you here. Now, I hope you've enjoyed our session today. The next session is going to be on HCM integration, OIC for HCM. We look forward to hosting that session for you. And again, as Jürgen is saying as well, try out OIC. It really is great value add on top of your apps. And thank you.
So if you have questions, you can still post them in the Q&A and we will read them out in a minute. As Neil summarized in his wonderful demo, we have a lot of pre-packaged integrations available, which is a big benefit. The service gets updated every second month. And we have a huge Oracle partner network with certified partners and Oracle Consulting. You saw the expertise from Stephen available to support you with your implementation.
Okay, great. So shall I continue?
So if you would like to learn more about Oracle Integration 3, we run a quarterly product update webcast. In the next webcast, Milad will talk about upgrading to Oracle Integration 3. And it will take place June 15th. If you missed one of them, the on-demand recordings are available. The next huge conference is scheduled for September, Oracle Cloud World in Las Vegas. Call for papers and registration is open. We would love to welcome you at the Oracle Integration Summit. In case you want to try Oracle Integration, you can get a free account for 30 days. Of Oracle Integration, which runs on top of the Oracle free tier cloud infrastructure. Please go to oracle.com/try it, and there you can get the Oracle cloud infrastructure and provision Oracle Integration. Make use of the documentation. And as part of the documentation, we offer some free live labs where you can also get a use case like Neil showed on ERP integration and many other live labs, which gives you a wonderful starting point for your integration journey. If you're looking for experts who can help you with your implementation, Partner Finder is the place to go. At Partner Finder, you can search for certified partners like Accenture or local partners like Capgemini or Infosys. And you can also find their Oracle Consulting. At Cloud Marketplace, you can find additional third-party pre-built adapters and specifically consulting services for the cloud. To collaborate and to continue to ask your questions, please join the Oracle discussion forum, Cloud Customer Connect. There you can start conversations, you can submit innovations, and you can earn badges. Today's webcast is live. We are recording and it will be available on demand and published at Oracle Video Hub. You can also find there the presentation once you log into the Oracle Video Hub. All information is published in our quarterly customer newsletter. You can subscribe to the newsletter and you can read the latest summer edition from May this month. It's all published at bit.ly/integration news May 2023. I would highlight that Oracle Consulting is available for any kind of projects. They, as you saw, as Steve shared his wonderful best practice insights, they have a lot of expertise in Oracle services. They also have certified experts and they can subcontract to Oracle partners. So as a quick summary, before we come to the Q&A, there are a couple of resources. You can visit our website, oracle.com/integration. At the documentation page, you find the Integration 3 documentation plus the live labs. And you can use the live labs for your proof of concept and demo, which is available free of charge at cloudoforacle.com/try-it. We publish a lot of blogs. The official blog is at blogs.oracle.com/integration. Neil has a fantastic blog, and you can also look out for my blog with a lot of partner information. All of that material is published in a quarterly newsletter, so make sure you subscribe to it. So Neil, what kind of questions do we have which you would like to read out for the benefit of all?
Okay, and first of all, I just wanted to share my screen for a sec, just to show again, these are the business events that I was talking about that have been propagated from Fusion to OIC. And as you can see here, you can check in on these guys, like the default filtering is on the maxed out retries, but you can click in here and you can say, okay, I'm really interested in all the ones that have been delivered. So you just do apply on that, and you will see all of these have been successfully applied. So these business events happening in Fusion, and this one here, the business event is a service request being created in Fusion. And then this is subscribed to by this particular integration, and it was delivered successfully. So this is really another discriminating factor for OIC, is this visibility into Fusion events. Now going back to the Q&A, if we look at the Q&A, I'm just trying to say here, okay, how difficult would it be to move from previous gen to new gen? Well, it'll be very easy because we will be doing the move for you. And essentially, what you do as an OIC Gen 2 user, and I just showed you here, folks, not to steal any of Milad's thunder when we will be doing the webcast later in June. But when you go in here, you will see in your Gen 2 environment. Can you see my screen? Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Neil, I moved to the Q&A slide.
Okay, sorry, I'll share my screen again. So just to show you folks here, when you go into OIC Gen 2, you can see there's this new upgrade menu option under settings. Now, I know it's a bit hidden. We're thinking of putting it up at a much higher level, but within here, you can check if your environment is available for upgrade, because Gen 3 and Gen 2, we don't have 100% parity yet. So, but for many of customers, we have, because they're only using certain features of OIC Gen 2, for example. But that will be the first starting point, and from there, you can schedule an upgrade and so on. But from a work perspective, we're doing the heavy lifting and shifting. But if you want to find out the details, just join the call with Milad next month. So the Sharon will be sharing the PPT. Yeah. Now I see a question here, maybe for Stephen, for B2B EDI outbound flow. In the ERP business event response XML, if we need to get the trading partner details, what setup is required from ERP side? I don't know, Stephen, is this something you would like? Oh, you would like to answer this question? Yes.
So you've got when you would have to first set up your trading partners, which is part of the ERP configuration. There's a number of screens you can go through in ERP, and you just register them as a trading partner. Within the integration itself, you just need to use the API for trading partners and retrieve the details that you provide.
Perfect. And then the next question is, bulk import inbound in call backflow 2, can we fetch error PDF files from FBDI process?
So the error files are actually text files. You get 2 files. You get the error files with actually are highlighting which item was in error, and also the basic process log. So you get the whole thing. So they're both text files, not actually PDF files. Okay,
great. Now, so that's it. We've no other questions on the official Q&A. I'm just wondering on the chat, do we have questions, or have they all been?
Yeah, Neil, there's some more questions. So the one question comes from Darshan is, what is the best approach to import bulk data on ERP using the adapter or the REST API?
So the best way to do it is using the ERP adapter, and you use the bulk service. That is the best practice to actually use that FBDI file. There is an exception, and that's around Accounting Hub, where some of the processes hasn't been within ERP itself. They haven't built the process that does the whole thing. So you have to load the file separately and then do the processing.
Then the next question comes from Riyad, how to practice Oracle Integration Cloud. Like I showed, we offer a free trial of Oracle Cloud Infrastructure for 30 days. So you can get your own instance and you can use the documentation and the live labs to build a proof of concept and go through the labs step by step. In case you're an Oracle partner, we offer a partner community, and there you find also information about upcoming free hands-on bootcamps. Those trainings take place every month and they go for 3 days as a live virtual class. Neil, any other questions which are open?
Well, I see in my Gen 2 instance, I see all green on pre-upgrade check, but still the schedule drop-down is grayed out, not able to select this windows. Ramesh, could you please ping me offline about that so I can actually look into that, you know? And what I need from you would be the OSID of the OIC instance that's affected there. That would be great. Thank you. The one thing about it here is, folks, when we're looking at the upgrade, and we'll be discussing this, we look at all of the OIC instances in your environment, because it's like we upgrade everything. So maybe sometimes you might say, okay, one instance is okay, but other instances might not have yet the parity. So that's it, Jürgen, and I hope everybody found this very useful. I apologize for the demos there, but that's what happens sometimes when you're doing live demos. And the connection worked yesterday, and I assume the password changes every Sunday, but maybe that's not the case anymore. So Jürgen, you're going to go ahead with the product management contacts.
Yeah, so thank you very much. Thank you, Steve, for the excellent best practices. Thank you, Neil, for the wonderful demo. If you have questions, you can reach out to the team. So Neil is our product manager in Europe, Middle East, and Africa. Paulo Mota supports South America, Ravi Chaplani, North America, and we have Ravi Pinto taking care of India and Steve of ASEA. For partner questions and marketing support, please reach out to myself. We would like to say thank you for attending today's webcast, and the next webcast will take place on June 7th. So Carmen, what's the topic in June?
Thank you, Jürgen. In June, we will be talking about HCM. So we have shared already on the chat the link to join the upcoming session. So please check and register for any of those sessions that are relevant to you. 7th of June, HCM, 21st of June, CX, 5th of July, NetSuite, and then the last one, it's 19th of July on SOA Suite.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you for attending today's webcast post live. The recording will be published at Oracle Video Hub. Once you log in, you can also download the slides. Thanks for attending. See you in June.